has called us, He has kept us, He ain't never gonna leave us. He ain't never leave you nor forsake you. He said, where He leave you will be. He whether you're coming or going, He got you. You are necessary. I wanted to hear and sing that one more time. We did play it sing it last night, I'm sorry. But I wanted you to realize that the time is now. You are here for a reason, a purpose, a season. The time is now. Everything that you carry is necessary. Give the Lord a praise. Praise Him like you believe that you're necessary. Praise Him like you think that He sent Jesus Christ to die for your sins. Praise Him like you know He's going to come back for you one day. Praise Him like you know you live in this life to live a healing. That this ain't all. You may have a great time down here, but He's going to come back for you. You are necessary. Amen. Amen. Yes.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
I am God today. I thank God for Himself. I thank Him for Jesus Christ, His Son. And I thank His Son for shedding His blood on Calvary for me. I thank Him that He went into a grave. I thank Him that He snatched the keys from me. I thank Him that He rose on the third day. Easter was a couple of weeks ago. I thank Him that He ascended unto the Father. And He's seated at the right hand, making intercession for me. Making all of my prayers make sense. But I don't know how to say nothing but Jesus. He can make that make sense. And knows exactly what Jesus means in that moment, at that time. I thank Him for His Holy Spirit that allows me to live right most of the time. Now, it should make me live right all of the time, but it's making me live right most of the time. We're going to work on all. We're working on the hard. It is an honor and a privilege and a pleasure for me to be here this morning. I honor, now I want y'all to know that I do understand the no protocol. So I'm going to try to call her Pastor Nikki. But I've been calling her Nicole Brown, my friend, for over 20-some years. So I honor Pastor Nikki Nicole Brown, my friend. I honor her this morning. I thank God for Nicole Brown, my friend, Pastor Nikki, for she has truly made a difference in my life. I am a little bit older than her, but I have learned so much from her. I have learned so much about how to walk in faith from Pastor Nikki Nicole Brown, my friend. I have watched her say things that I'm like, well, okay, we gonna go with it if that's what you say. But I honor her today. I honor Pastor Steve. See, I couldn't even get it out because I call him little brother Steve. So, Pastor little brother Steve. I give honor to the apostle who had to leave. She had another engagement, you guys. As Steve said, she has her own conference going on. And then finally, last but surely not least, I honor my new sister from a different mister. Hey. I just met her. Yeah. I heard about it, but I never knew her. But wow. It was a pleasure to know you. Wow. Amen. And to Lakia Marie. No. I've been going here for Nicole, and Lakia was a young child, actually. And we was all over Maryland and DC, everywhere with the kids singing and everything. But God bless you. The Lord is truly moving in your life. tonight. All right, let's get with it. Okay. The time is now. The time is now. Now is the time, however you want to put it. Y'all know Nike? Anybody wearing Nike? Got some Nike clothes? Some Nike shoes? If you don't have them, I'm sure your children have them. Somebody you know, or you got a t-shirt. And you know they have a swoosh. And their slogan says, just do it. Nike says, just do it. But here's a little bit of trivia. Did you know that the slogan, just do it, came from a guy who was about to be killed? He was a murderer. And he was about to go up before the court martial. They were going to kill him. And he said, let's do it. And the people from Nike read the story and heard about it, and they changed it from let's do it to just do it. But today I stopped by on my way to Salamander Farm and then back to Dallas to tell you the time is now. Let's do it. Let's do it. And the time is now for you. See, I am a therapist by trade, and for my therapists in the house, y'all know we got to do the work. People got to do the work, right? Because we don't just want to talk. Our throat get dry, and release it, and talk, and you don't do any work. So what I want you to do, the let's do it, is whatever it is God is doing for you. This is not a moo-moo message. Y'all know a moo-moo. They're selling their Ross. Got the neck, and it comes over your head, and then it's sewn up on both sides. And then on one side fit all, you can wear a 2 or 22, and it's supposed to fit you. That's not this message. This is one that's tailor-made for you. So, everybody get out your phone. I know you got your phone. I know you've been looking at your phone. I know you've been posting online and TikTok and everybody. And I know you check your emails and Facebook. Get your phone out. Get it out. I know you took some selfies. I know Tanita took a lot of selfies when he was coming up. Get your phone. Turn it around to the selfie mode. Look at yourself. Alexis is looking at herself. Look at yourself. Y'all ready? Everybody got it? Mirror on the wall. I can do it after all. And whatever that it is, that's what we're talking about today. That's why it's a moo-moo message. Whatever the it is, and I want you to write it down. Because we come to these things and we get all high in spirit, we was hollering, necessary, all this stuff. But then next week we don't what? What, it was a lady up there, she was pretty funny. She had me look at my phone. What was I supposed to do? What was that? So I want you to write it down, either write it in your phone, write it in I'm sure it's some paper in your bag somewhere. Write it. What is the it that you need to do now? Y'all taking selfies. Y'all got something back there? What is the it? Get it in your mind, get it in your heart, get it in your spirit. Because after today, we want you to work on it. Romans 12:1 says, I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, to submit your body a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. And I had an old lady in my life many years ago, and she said, if you got any sense. So if you got any sense, you will submit your body a living sacrifice unto God. And then Paul is the writer of Romans, he's the writer of this chapter, and he says, and then be not conformed to this world. Now, Paul is mainly talking about being conformed to sin, being conformed to this world system, being conformed to the things that this world do, the things that happen in this world. And some of us are being conformed to sin. Some of us are doing those things, but then some of us are not. But we still being conformed.
Come on.
We still being conformed by what we think, what we feel, what other people say about us, how we grew up. They talking about generational trauma. There's some generational conformity that's happened. My grandmother did it, my mother did it, now I do it. It ain't working for me, but I don't know nothing else to do. It's not bringing me any satisfaction. It really is. There are times it's causing me pure up, straight up hell. But I don't know what else to do. So I'm being conformed. I am being conformed by, why you didn't wear no lipstick today? Don't you know you should have some lipstick on? And then by the way, the lipstick you got on don't even look good on you. So now you wonder, do I look okay? Should I go buy that MAC lipstick instead of the lipstick at Walgreens when you can't afford it? We're being conformed. We're changing who we are by what people say about us, by how people feel about us, even by what we think they are saying. They may not even be saying. I asked my client, who is they and them? They said. Who is they? And do they live in your house? And do they pay any bills? So why do they have a say? They don't have a say. But we know we do it, and as women, we are bad at it. Or good at it either way. Some conforming is not bad. You know, there was a time in my life I would have never worn ripped jeans. What? Those are jeans that go in the trash. But now we pay lots of money for the toe-up jeans, don't we? We're conforming. But it's not bad. It's okay because it's what you want. So now not conforming is bad. But Paul says, be not conformed. Don't be conformed. Don't keep changing yourself because somebody else isn't pleased with you. You be pleased with you. You be happy with you. And then he says, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. You gotta think a different way. And we just said, y'all know, tell the man, she sings a song and she says, I'm not gonna sing it. Change me, oh God. Make me more like you. Change me, oh God. Wash me through and through. And we think that's the way the transformation is supposed to come. We're going to sit here and say, change me, Jesus. Change me, God. I don't want to be like that, Lord. I don't like that. Change me, change me, change me, change me. But you don't do nothing. Change takes work. Change takes time. Change takes effort. You got to do the work to be transformed. And you know, Pastor Cynthia already killed my little butterfly metamorphosis thing. So y'all remember what she said about the butterfly. We ain't gonna do the butterfly. I mean, I'm like, look, man, I didn't know you was getting ready to do the whole butterfly spiel. Well, she did. Y'all remember? Don't forget it. Do y'all know what y'all gonna change? Do y'all know what your it is? You got it? 3 things, and I'm gonna be through, and I'm gonna be through for real. Because I ain't gonna be long. 3 things. When you start changing, and changing your mind, and changing your behavior, and stop conforming, you have to be you. Just be you. Kia told you, you're necessary. Whatever God created you to be, whatever God created you to do, nobody else can do it like you. I don't care if they do it. It's about 5 of us therapists here in the house or more. And we all do it differently. I have some clients and I tell them right off the bat, baby, I know it ain't your flavor, but I'll give you a referral. And if you want to, and I ain't even mad with you. Go over there and get what you need. Be you. Can't nobody beat you being you. Stop conforming to everybody else. Stop conforming what everybody else says that you should be. Stop conforming what they said you couldn't be. Because there's some folk in here that somebody told you couldn't be nothing. There's some folk in here that somebody told you wasn't going to be able to handle or do or be or anything. And we bought the hype. We either bought the hype and didn't become nothing, or we bought the hype and we was trying to prove them wrong. So we did all manner of sort of things that wasn't even godly or goodly, trying to prove them wrong. So as you begin this caterpillar, y'all remember what she said about the caterpillar butterfly? As you begin this metamorphosis, as you begin this change, or if you continue, some of us have already began, but we need to keep going. Because you're going to be changing until the time Jesus comes. And if you ever feel like you don't need to change no more, no girl say you're gone. You up out of here. Woof, you out. So you will be forever being transformed. And you will be forever renewing your mind. Because in order to change, you got to think about doing it different. You got to think about, not say about it, think about it, and then do it. Whatever your it is, remember, mirror, mirror on the wall. I'm going to change it after all. Whether it's being a better wife, being a better single, having more joy, having more peace, getting another job, quitting the job you got, going back to school, whatever the it is, I'm going to change it after all, because can't nobody beat me being me. And then you got to believe. Now we Christians, right? We all Christians. And we all talk about faith. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Gotta face it to be making. But do we really believe? Do we really? Do you really believe that whatever God said that He had, God said? Whatever God said. Whatever God said. Because if He said it, He is going to bring it to pass. Because He is not a man that He should lie, nor son that He have to say He's sorry. So whatever God said, He will bring. But do you believe it? We have so many Christians walking around with little to no faith. Zero. Again, my sister Nicole Brown got more faith than I ever seen in my life. But she believed. I wasn't at the service, but I was in her life when she got the prophecy about the multiples of daycares and whatnot. And she was telling me, I'm like, okay, girl, yeah, I believe it with you. Because sometimes you got to have somebody to believe it with you. Sometimes we may not believe it because we can't see it, so we don't think. Sometimes our self-esteem is so low that we think God ain't going to do it for us. We think He'll do it for her and her and her and her, but He ain't going to do it for me because I did this or I did that or I didn't read the Bible or I didn't study or I didn't go to Bible study or I had a baby out of wedlock or I was with the man. We think He's not going to do it for us. So we need to get somebody to help us believe it better. I always say, Lord, I believe, but help down my unbelief. Because it's sometimes I really just don't believe, but I need to get somebody to help me. And I got sense enough to know that if I ask the Lord, He'll help me in my unbelief. He won't leave me because I didn't believe. But in order to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, you have to know who you are. You have to know you got to be good with you. Because can't nobody beat you being you. You can't beat, you are a design original, why? So why would you be a cheap copy? You're not Katona Brown, you're not Michelle Obama, you're not Beyonce, you're not any of those people. You are who God created you to be. Get it in your mind, get it in your heart, get it in your spirit, and then walk after that. Then believe God for the end. Everybody got the end? Believe God for the end. And then, finally, I'm going to be through. I told you I'm going to be long. Then you got to come up with an action plan. This is the part folks don't like. It's so easy to sit around and complain. It's so easy to look at everybody else and what they're accomplishing. And sometimes we have the nerve to get mad. She thinks she's something. Yes, you are married. She thinks she's something. Who does she think she is driving that kind of car? Who does she think she is doing this, that, and the third? And it's only because we didn't execute our own action plan. It's only because when God gave us whatever the it is, we didn't execute our action plan because the action plan is hard, y'all. We want the easy way. We want the short route. We want the microwave version of it. We want to press, click, and wait a minute. And there it is. We don't want to go the hard, long, arduous route to get there. Somebody asked me last night, how long have you been a therapist? And I didn't really answer the question. But I want y'all to know that when I came here Thursday from Dallas, Texas, I came here Thursday from Dallas. On Wednesday, my license came in the mail. I want y'all to know that it took me 24 years to complete the mission. 24, not months, but 24 years to complete the mission. When I had another career, and then I decided to become a therapist, but there were some action plans that had to occur. I'm telling y'all this so you can understand the action plan. I lived in Denver, Colorado, and I left my good government job in Denver, Colorado. I left my home, I sold my home, and I moved to Virginia. Action plan. Because I knew who I was, and I believed that God said he was going to do what he called me to do. So I moved to Virginia. And I started at one school and didn't quite work out the way I planned. So I went to another school. And I went to a school where I got a lot of flack because they didn't believe in women preachers and they didn't believe in speaking in tongues at the school. And I went to Maryland. Well, I didn't go there to speak in tongues, but I didn't go there to preach. I went there to get my education. Because what God called me to do, I'm talking about the it. I'm talking about let's do it. Whatever you're in, I'm talking about the time is now. The time was then. God said to me that I would be a therapist to the African American church. Not the mental hospital, not behavioral health, not child protective services, not any of those other places, but the African, and not just the church, but the African American church. So I finished up my degree program in Virginia, over at the school where they didn't speak tongues and but they didn't believe in women preachers. They didn't know it. Black folks not very much. But anyway, and so then I moved to Dallas. But what I found out when I moved to Dallas that you really couldn't work with just a master's in Christian counseling. Because that was what my degree was in, Christian counseling. More action steps. I'm not forgetting where I'm going. I'm not forgetting that the time is now. I'm not forgetting that everybody has an it. I'm just talking about my it and the action steps that it takes to get there for 24 years. I'm talking about the fact that when you want God to change you and do what he called you to do, you're going to have to put some time in. It's going to be some grit that you got to put in. You're going to have to give up some stuff. You're going to have to lay down some stuff. You're going to have to pick up some stuff. You're going to have to lay down some friends. You're going to have to pick up some different friends and not doing it there where the old friends are going. You're going to have to spend some time alone. There's going to be some isolation and transformation. It's going to be people who ain't going to understand. They're not going to go with you. They're going to talk about you. They're going to leave you. They're going to want you what you got. And you're going to have some isolation in the transformation. And you got to have your mind right. Because if your mind ain't right, you're going to go back and get it. Come on, come be with me. Why are you talking about me? Don't talk about me. I'm sorry. You're going to make some allowances if you don't realize that there is isolation in the transformation. I moved to Dallas. It didn't quite turn out to where I thought it was. My best friend in Dallas ended up being my therapist, who was a Caucasian woman that looked like a gypsy. I didn't know what was wrong with Paulette. Like, what do you have on? What do you even do? But Paulette was my best friend because I didn't have nobody else. There was transformation in the isolation. There was isolation in the transformation. I had to figure this thing out. I had to always know who God called me to be. I had to always believe that if he started a good work in me, he was going to complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. It didn't matter what it looked like, y'all, because it looked dark. It looked bleak. It was hard. I cried a minute here. I wanted to pack my crap up and come back to here. Because the same truck that took me to Denver could bring me back. To Dallas could bring me back. But it wasn't what God wanted. I had to renew my life. I had to change my way of thinking. It's isolation in the transformation. Got to Dallas. The crazy therapist looking like a gypsy kind of helped me out and stayed with me out. I started making a few friends and getting things going. Started back to school because now I have to get a professional counselor's degree. Because even though I wanted to work for the church, I wanted to give my best work. I wanted to be the best that I could be. So whatever it is God is calling you to do, the pastor said, be the best. Don't cut corners. Don't say, oh, that's fine. Oh, it's just a church. It'll be fine. Oh, it's just this. It'll be fine. Be the best you can be. Because sometimes we got a mindset that, oh, it's good enough. Oh, I can do that. Well, they didn't really say I had to get that many degrees. Like I didn't have to go that many times. I didn't have to do that much. Get your mind right. Know who you are. Believe that if God called you to it, he'll get you through it. I'm in Dallas. I'm in school. Then my sister gets a divorce. And she's got 3 small children. Then 4, 6, and 11. Y'all ain't had no children. Didn't want no children. Let the church say amen. But all of a sudden, I go from being a career single, doing my thing, to having a whole family. Never bought $500 worth of groceries in my life. To the children showed up. Because 2 of them were boys, and 1 of them was a big boy. And I still thought, they coming, they're going to get this up together about 6 months or so, and they're going to go home. But my sister had a nervous breakdown. And I ended up having them a long time. with a lot of stress. And now I don't have money to finish my degree because I'm feeding the children. I'm putting big old size 15 shoes on the boy. I'm having to get them to do whatever they're having to do, and I'm having to deny myself in order to help them. But how many of y'all know if he brings you to it, he'll bring you through? How many of y'all know that if you are being transformed by the renewing of your mind, that Jesus ain't going to leave you nor forsake you? How many of you know that he got your back, your front, all the way around? There were people who would just bring me money. And it would be just enough for my tuition. There were people who would just bring the boys shoes. They had good jobs, they bought them expensive shoes. Children didn't even know they was broke, y'all. I said, y'all don't even know y'all toe on the poverty line. Your big toe is on the poverty line and you think you in Club Med somewhere. What's wrong with y'all? You're it. I don't think I'm going. I ain't caught up. The time is now. Mirror, mirror on the wall. What is it you need to do after all? You need to be you. Because can't nobody beat you being you. You need to believe that if God said it, he shall bring it to pass. It don't matter, y'all. The bishop apostle, she talked about the storm. The storms of life gonna rage. The billows gonna roll. But he'll bring it. All right, so we don't understand. People would help me. Then finally I graduated. 2015. I'm thinking I can go to work. I'm thinking I done finally made it. And then y'all know now. See, I was about 50. So now I have to worry about sexism, racism, and ageism. Because now I'm in a category that they don't really want to hire old people. Whoever in here old, y'all know how that is. You can't start looking for no job at 50-something. They don't want to know what your longevity is. And that's the truth. They don't want to know what your longevity is. And quiet as it's kept, we got more longevity than some of the young folk. Because they'll quit in a minute. They'll quit in a minute. Say something to them. And they will leave your job. The ones that you discriminate against, the old people like me, we'll hang in there. But them young folks, out. I'll go get another one. This is not the only one out here. But I'm facing ageism now. Sexism, racism. How does this work? Graduated in 2015. I was trying to figure my life out. And I had a job. I had another job. So I have another job. I have some hungry children. I have a sister praying my strength still with her. I got a lot of stuff going on. I graduated. I think I'm ready to go now. I meet with the clinical supervisor who tells me, oh no, baby, you got 3,000 clock hours that you gotta do. I'm like, what? 3,000? Do you know how many 3,000 clock hours are? You know, that's a lot, ain't it? 3,000 when you work a job. I work a job, y'all. And remember, I only wanted to do it for the church. The church people ain't coming to therapy like that. Especially not the black church people. There ain't nothing wrong with them. And they don't need no therapy. And if they came to therapy, I ain't crazy. You try to tell me I'm crazy. Where was I going to get 3,000 hours? It was hard. I said I graduated in 2015. What year is this? But I didn't stop. I didn't think where I was going. I didn't think I would. The time is now. The time is now to be you. The time is now for whatever it is God is calling you to do it. Do it now. If it's go back to school, when you get home, look online and figure out what school you want to go to. Print out the application, write it down, fill it out, do it. The time is now. If you want to be a better mother, look up some parenting classes. The time is now. If you want to be a better wife, go talk to somebody who's doing it. The time is now. If you got some malice or hatred in your heart, go ask the Lord to help you. The time is now. Let's do it. Let's do it. 2019. Yeah, 2019, July 2019. I was having some issues on the job that I was on, and I was getting ready to. Now I was working part-time for the church, but now we're in negotiations at the church. Y'all heard in the black churches there being negotiations for salaries, negotiations. Ain't no negotiations in the black church. Ain't no salary. You go hungry working in the black church. You ain't got no insurance in the black church. They think if they pay you a little something, you ought to be glad to work for Jesus. You see the significance in that, what God called me to do? I wasn't even going to make it in my mind. I wasn't even going to pay back the student loans. I was going to die before I paid back the student loans. 2019, the church, the African American church in Richardson, Texas, by the name of LifeConnect Community, began to negotiations for me to come to work for them. And I had it in my mind, you got to believe the Lord, because sometimes our beliefs be thrown off. So in my thrown off beliefs, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it because this is what God told me to do. And I'm going to trust him to take care of me, but I'm probably going to have to work for a little money. I'm probably going to have to go to the county hospital because they don't have no restaurant. I don't know, I'm going to eat cat food when I get old because they don't do that for me when I can. I'm going to do nothing for me to have when I get old. So Lord, I'm just going to do your will because this is what you called me to do. Because that was the time. And it was for me to do. And I was going to do it. Not thinking I was going to be rich. Not thinking I was going to get a car. Not thinking I was going to get a man. Not thinking I was going to get nothing. But I was going to do what God called me to do. Called me to do. This morning, what is God calling you to do? What are you willing to sacrifice to do what God is calling you to do? Not guaranteed to get nothing in return. Because Jesus ain't Santa Claus. Jesus not sitting up in Santa Claus North Pole heaven waiting to throw you out all the things you want. Jesus not up there, and when you don't get what you want, you fall out like a little petulant child. You fall out and kick your heels up and cry and act a fool, and you mad and you ain't gonna serve the Lord no more because you didn't get what you wanted. I don't forget where I was. Negotiations at the African American church. They ended up offering me more than I had been paid at that time.
Wow.
They ended up offering me actually more than I had been paid in a long time. Then they said, well, Jada, we want to be on the scale of other companies, so we're going to offer you insurance. I said, huh? And I was willing to pay half, do all this stuff. And they said, and we going to pay the premium. They paid the whole thing. I don't have nothing go come out my check. Not $50, not $10, nothing comes out my check. I go to the doctor and pay them $20, and I see them, and I leave. They say, thank you, Jesus. Pretty soon after that, they said, well, we really are trying to be on the scale of other companies. So now we're going to offer 403B. Now, the 403B is the equivalent of a 401k, but it's for nonprofits. I said, for real? Because y'all remember, I thought I was going to be cat food. And I was ready. I was just going to do whatever I needed to do. And we'll do a 6% match.
Jesus.
Because I knew who I was. I knew that though I was called to be a therapist, I wasn't called to be a therapist at the mental hospital. I wasn't called to be a therapist for social services. I wasn't called to be a therapist for no companies. I wasn't called for that. I was called to be a therapist for the African American church, so that we will know, and the women in this room and women wherever will know that it's okay.
Amen.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. It's what happened to you. There's some things that happen to us that cause us to do certain things. And when you get okay, you change the world. When you get okay, you change your family. Then the family changes the community. Then the community changes the church. And then we take over the world.
Amen. Amen.
2019. Then I'm still working on the 3,000 hours. Okay? Because now that I'm getting paid from the church, but the folks still ain't coming like they should. So I'm about at 1,000 something still left. Whew. Then the global pandemic came. Some of us prospered in the pandemic. Some of us. The pandemic was hard and a lot of things happened, but some of us prospered in the pandemic. So the pandemic came, and the place where I was doing my internship, the lady called me and she said, Jada, we got a whole lot of money to see to service the city of Dallas. I said, she said, you want to work? I said, girl, yes, sign me up. I saw so many clients from 2020 until last month that I got, it was about 2,000 hours. And I got paid.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. I got paid. Because sometimes you have to do this stuff for no pay. You work your job and then you volunteer for your hours. And I got my hours. It took a total of 24 years from start to finish. So don't be discouraged, ladies. Whatever God is calling you to do, it may not be a microwave. It's probably going to be in a slow cooker. It's going to be in a slow cooker. But don't give up. Don't quit. Don't let nobody throw you off of your square. Don't let nobody tell you what you ought to be doing by now. Don't let nobody tell you, I wish you, girl, I wish you're not me so much. Thank you so much. You're not me. You don't know what God told me to do. The time is gone. Let's do it. Whatever your it is, mirror, mirror on the wall. What? I can do it after all. Amen.